Semedo wins it in a good position. Clever from Rafinha. Rakitic takes over. Buyout. Shoveled back by Ronald Araujo. There's a bit more defending to do here up against David Villa. Played by the young Uruguayan. Semedo will bomb forward whenever he can from right back. Rakitic. Pinpoint precision. Dankler was there ahead of Antoine Griezmann. Iniesta picks the pass and it's a good one. And here's Keijiro straight into the arms of Ter Stegen. J-League, Vissel can only name 5 foreign players in a matchday squad. 5 foreign players in a matchday squad.
You have to take a look to know who's in front of that goal, and it was a little bit of a blind pass in terms of hoping that someone's going to latch on onto that ball as well. But not bad from Vissel Kobe.
There's a little room out there. Got all the way through there. Ultimately, Fujitani was there. Ultimately, what is it? Form is temporary, class is permanent. Iniesta, class is very much permanent. Class is very much
perhaps
permanent.
Thinking that, you know, if I was still on the other side, that pass would have been
someone would have been on the other end of the line.
Maybe there would have been another option or two right there, because you got to read that play as well. Certainly when you release a player like that, the idea is that somebody's got to get in front of goal, and as you saw for Vissel Kobe, there were no takers.
Slid away from Villa. Which can't quite combine there. Debuted in Copa del Rey. Oh, ball brought down nicely. Chance now for Barcelona. It's pulled wide.
What an opportunity for Ricky Puig. You feel that he's got to put that away. Here's that high pressure. That's well done from him to recognize that. You know, he's got Griezmann right there, but really, the goalkeeper doing a pretty decent job in cutting out his options, making him to make a decision quickly. Going to the near post, probably best off to look for the far post, or maybe for Antoine Griezmann. It's a window of opportunity, maybe a second or so when Griezmann was open. And once you don't recognize it, that window closes very quickly.
Conkler struggling to give really any window for Makawa. Iniesta draws the oohs and ahs of this crowd. They are in 15th, but their attendance is drastically higher than it was 2 years ago.
Probably helps to have the likes of Iniesta, David Villa, of course, Lucas Podolski as well. Another former Barcelona player, Thomas Vermaelen, just signing today. He's had all kinds of problems in terms of his health, all the way back to when he was playing for Arsenal at Barcelona. I mean, he got there, 2014, only 53 matches for him. He was on loan at Roma as well, but Thomas Vermaelen will be representing Vissel Kobe. That pipeline from Barcelona continues.
I think most teams would be happy to have that pipeline.
Well, yes and no.
Yeah. Well,
they're 15th in the table. I love Iniesta. I love David Villa. Although David Villa has been consistent. He's been scoring. What a career he's had, by the way. I mean, you look at David Villa and, the times that he's been at Valencia, of course, and Barcelona and NYCFC, wherever he's gone, he's been scoring buckets and buckets of goal. And even this season, he's their leading scorer and has done his job, that's for sure.
Second leading in the J1 league, 10 goals on the year. Spain's all-time leading goal scorer, Semedo. Griezmann, the return. And it's hammered by Rafinha. Makawa.
It's been a pretty decent transition from Antoine Griezmann, by the way. If you watch that Chelsea game, he didn't have a lot of looks, but I thought he's combined extremely well, showing the right spots, and you can see that combination play and understanding already with Rafinha. Just a little bit of a 1-2, dropping the ball off to him, and weak attempt. It has to be safe for Rafinha.
Now, realistically, Collado played one game in La Liga last year, and you're going to bring in all this South American talent that's out after the Copa America in the next week or two. But I think Collado and Griezmann both combined really well, too, in that Chelsea game, for what it's worth.
Yeah, they have, but I think Alex Collado will be just happy to be on this trip, right? If he sees action this season, he'll be ecstatic. So I don't think that's one player. Maybe one for the future, as we say, but not for the near future.
Griezmann slips it ahead. Semedo on that cutback. Conkler has to drive it away. Holds up. Griezmann.
Speaking of Collado, though, he was involved again, but Antoine Griezmann and this play, and he continues to do that. Look at this. The ball finds him, it seems, although obviously his movement's been very, very good. So I've been super impressed with Antoine Griezmann so far. I'm sure Valverde is as well.
Ogawa. Overrun for the ball.
Good from the youngster. Araujo using his pace and using his body right there. Look at that touch and plays into the body. That's very important. A little bit of shoulder to shoulder just to make sure that Ogawa doesn't get any further there.
Feels a little over 90 degrees, and he has to pour a little water over the top. The ball driven back across toward David Villa. Matsuse. Scooter toward Villa. Comes out to Sergio Busquets. Rafinha. Collado. Griezmann. Semedo. Good effort there from Matsuse. So for a moment. Kitic. Rafinha. Hold up to continue play, but that diagonal cut out.
Excellent so far. Once again, that ball, the way he cushions it to bring it back. I mean, that's his job at this level. He's got to be able to do it. But at the moment, very, very active, showing being an option for all players. And I've said not an easy one when you look at this lineup, and I can understand why some are frustrated with Ernesto Valverde, because, I mean, he's the only attacking option. You look at the likes of Rakitic, Puig, Rafinha. Those are all central midfielders right now that are looking to make the game rather than finish the game. So that's going to continue to be a question mark about this Barcelona team. Of course, that's going to be much different when Suarez and Messi come into the equation.
You do wonder when there's so much smoke if there is fire to the Neymar returning rumors, right?
I think with all things being equal, if everyone wants to pull off the move, Barcelona wants him back. I'm convinced of it, and you know, it's a big question mark because of the sort of money that, you know, this would require. But I think if you ask Suarez and Messi, they'd like to have him back.
Seems like it.
And whatever Messi says usually happens. But he might have to sacrifice some of his own money.
That's
Just
right.
joking, of course.
Yeah. Well, kind of.
I think this rumor has a lot of legs.
Free to Rafinha. Rakitic really trying to show well in this preseason, maintain his role. He barrel rolls through that challenge.
Yeah, that time Antoine Griezmann looked like he was confused where to go, because Rakitic came out of that pretty well. I didn't think he was going to be in possession of that ball, and Griezmann, rather than go the other way, came towards him. So Rakitic here had no options really, because he was the only one going forward. And let's see, when you look at that tackle from Samper, nothing wrong with that for me.
Pretty forgiving guy, huh?
Well, I mean,
Yeah.
he does go from the behind, gets the ball, keeps the ball, and is just about ready. Of course, if you look at Rakitic, he's going to go over. I don't know if he tweaked his ankle there, but I didn't see how much of a foul there. It was as clean as you get in terms of winning the ball while being behind Rakitic.
Got you covered this weekend. Today, Spain, Portugal, the under-19 Euro final. 2020 on ESPN News. Rather, 12:20. And tonight, NWSL, Utah Royals FC, North Carolina Courage, 10 p.m. ESPN News. Tomorrow, Milan and Benfica on the Deuce, 3 Eastern. All streaming live on the ESPN app. Utah Royals FC sitting in 6th in the NWSL. One win can make a difference. This ball was pushed in toward Rafinha. North Carolina Courage, reigning champs, just 4 points behind Portland Thorns. So exciting to see ESPN and NWSL strike up a partnership through the remainder of the year. Rajo.
Just very, very slow in terms of build-up. And that's not something you expect from Barcelona, right? That's that movement. And I think the problem lies there with the likes of Rakitic, even Rafinha, and Riqui Puig for the most part. I mean, every time I've seen him as of late, he's been outstanding. I think he's been relatively quiet here, and really no penetrative balls here. Griezmann is showing, but very, very slow, methodical here. And then I just think the tempo isn't there just yet. Understandably, to some degree, because where they are in the preseason, but still the patterns of play have to exist, and I'm not sure if I'm liking it. I'm sure Valverde probably doesn't like it either.
Rafinha. Dribbling exhibition. Griezmann. Rafinha trying to turn through it. Via the hold-up play. Iniesta.
There you go. I was going to say, we haven't seen David Villa too much, but Iniesta and Villa combining Villa leading the line is not unusual, but no Wellington in the starting lineup. He usually picks himself there, a bigger target, and I think David Villa enjoys playing off of him a little bit. I wonder if we're going to see him in the second half as well. A couple of players, of course, being sacrificed for Vissel Kobe in terms of their league play, and that's understandable. Furuhashi on the right-hand side, I expect him to see him in the right-hand side is very good. In fact, that whole line with Nishi, who usually plays on the right side, gets involved, gets in the attack. Maybe that's what we're going to see in the second half.
Rafinha gets blasted there.
Gets clipped once, a couple of times as well. Followed through, I suppose, from Hatsuse.
Some coaches are a little more clear than others. Let's not pick up injuries in preseason tours. Everybody believes it. Not everybody verbalizes it. Boyato goes down unchallenged.
Well, there's always that unspoken understanding that in the preseason that shouldn't happen, but there's something different about this summer.
More.
When you look at all the tournaments, all the teams in Asia, all the teams visiting the United States right now, it's been really almost in-season like play, and maybe pressure on the players and pressure. Well, look, I mean, there's a pressure with all these fans showing up as well. And as I've mentioned, there's always something to play. Looking at different players that just want to maybe make the squad, make the bench. Some of the players are pushing for the starting 11 as well.
Think about the Madrid derby yesterday. What was most amazing to me wasn't necessarily that Atletico won, although it was pretty impressive. It's that a guy in a preseason game could drop 4 goals and a red card in the same contest.
What a game that was. What a message from Cholo Simeone and Atleti.
Yeah.
I mean, speaking of a team in transition, Atletico Madrid, I felt nowhere near Madrid and Barcelona. If you consider Atleti, the fact that they've lost the entire back four. Look at Juan Fran, look at Felipe Luis, Hernandez going to Barcelona, Diego Godin.
Busquets trying to find Griezmann. Griezmann's frustration is evident.
Here's that build-up, and Busquets just trying to clip that over to Antoine Griezmann. Not enough room behind to pull that off, really. I mean, it was a deft touch from Busquets right there. That's desperate defending, almost an own goal. Yeah, that's that frustration, because if it's not for that touch, I think Antoine Griezmann from that distance maybe just pokes that in.
It was Maya. Made that challenge. Ball falls kindly here. Chance to shoot. Maya's there again to deny Rakitic.
Well, here's the delivery from Rafinha. Makawa, a little bit short on this. Gets a touch. Surprises Rakitic. That first touch just bounces on him. And as you can see, no room. Couple players in his face as well. Difficult one for Rakitic.
Another corner for Barcelona. In Kobe, Japan, Barcelona and Vissel Kobe for Iniesta, Villa, Samper. Chance to see their old club. Iniesta actually sat in on training yesterday. I don't know what secrets you can really keep from Andres Iniesta at Barcelona at this point. It's been a really week-long tour of Japan for Barcelona in their second preseason game, trying to tune up before ultimately they make their way to the United States. This is a 19-day, 3-continent, 5-game preseason. That's a lot of time zones and a lot of jet lag.
Yeah, that's for sure. Still going back to Barcelona, per trophy, then back to United States. Couple of matches against Napoli and Carlo Ancelotti. By that time, of course, they will have the likes of Messi, Arturo Vidal, Philip Coutinho, maybe. So much talk about him, perhaps.
Struck by Puig.
Being moved on. Although time will tell as the rumor mill goes. In the meantime, Barcelona doing a decent job in high pressing, trying to turn the ball over in the right spots, but again, in front of goal, not many looks, if any, really, not that I think about. Rafinha, a little bit of a dig from distance, but very disappointing in terms of the attack from Barcelona. Somewhat predictable as well, side to side, really emphasizing the wing play, but no penetration through the middle, which is something that you expect from Barcelona. The intricate passing, the 1-2s that release players going forward. Griezmann is trying, but almost playing in this game like another midfielder. And they have plenty of them, almost, in fact, too many in the center of the pitch.
Cut out. Ultimately, Rafinha's on the ball again.
That congestion right in the center of the pitch. You can see that Riqui Puig desperately trying to look for spots. As you can see it here, his movement without the ball is not bad, but nobody's finding him. Going to be an important season if he stays here for Rakitic. He is struggling. Once again, we've seen it on a couple occasions right now, and there's going to be so much pressure for him. He desperately wants to stay here. I think the club wants him to stay as well. The question mark is, how much time does he get? When you look at that midfield right now, and young Frankie de Jong in there as well. As I've said, Artur picks himself. I think Sergio Busquets will continue to play there. Arturo Vidal is going to find some games because of his physical aspects. I think there are plenty of matches where he's going to be of value as well.
Rafinha, that's too far. But you look at a guy like Rakitic, you're talking, yeah, the accolades are there. He's 31 years old. You just wonder how many miles are left for him. You can look at a couple guys who make that argument. I mean, when you pay as much as you do for Frankie de Jong, you're looking at Sergio Busquets at 31 years old, and you're probably thinking the same thing, whether it's a year, 2 years, 3 years down the line, whatever it is. It's past the half-hour mark of a game that started at 6 p.m. in Colby in New York City, 5:35 a.m. in the morning. It's quite the time difference from Barcelona as well.
You mentioned Frankie de Jong. The perception is that he may not be ready because he's young, but of course we've seen him at Ajax. That doesn't mean that it's going to be the same story, but for me, one of the most talented players of the next era, of this era and the next era. For me, absolutely ready to play, start for Barcelona in any game. One of the most intelligent players I've seen in a long, long time. And I just think that you can't sleep on him. You can't wait on him if you're Valverde. You've got to give him those opportunities because he can play anywhere in that midfield. And let's not forget that I've seen Frankie de Jong play in the center of defense as well for Ajax at times. This is how intelligent he is, and that's how much he was trusted by the Ajax hierarchy to play in some of those matches. It was mostly in Eredivisie, of course, so that's a little bit easier, but that's the player that's going to be one where it's going to be super interesting to me to see what Valverde does. And because he is pragmatic, I'm afraid that he may not give him the run right away, but I just think he's going to force himself into the starting lineup sooner rather than later.
Expect to see him in the second half. There were wholesale changes at the break against Chelsea. That first friendly, they made 5 changes to the starting order coming into this game against Vissel Kobe. But De Jong 2 years ago was playing for Ajax too. I mean, the world that he lives in has changed so drastically in the last 2 years, where you look at the run they made in Champions League. I mean, it was one of the most awe-inspiring stories in European competition in quite some time. Not that he was the only reason why.
Look, given his characteristics, he is in the right team. Let's remember that Barcelona 95-96% of the time is going to play on the front foot, right? So the way they play for Frankie de Jong, there's no worry in terms of putting him in and giving him a chance, right? And so I don't think that's an issue at all for Barcelona and Valverde. It shouldn't be.
Iniesta swings it out wide. Fujitani to Araujo. It's unclear just how much of Andres Iniesta and David Villa we'll see beyond this first half. Iniesta won La Liga 9 times, the Champions League 4 times, Copa del Rey 6 times while he was at Barcelona. Obviously, what he did with the Spanish national team, no stranger to the big game. It was aimed at Golke.
Yeah, Sumper. A terrible pass right there. That was an opportunity, now out of possession. I'm thinking, if I'm Iniesta and David Villa, I'm thinking, well, yeah, I remember those days when we had the ball 95% of the time, right? And so I don't think they're surprised with the fact that they haven't seen the ball. Knowing David Villa, because I've seen him, I commentated his game for NYCFC in Major League Soccer. He's super frustrated because he wants the ball. He's an extreme competitor here. I'm sure that he would want nothing more than put one in the back of the net here, but he's had 10 touches.
Yeah.
The entire first half so far.
But I think that experience at NYCFC, and he's done it every stop of his career, right? The whole team seems to take after him. I think a lot of people thought he was the perfect fit to get Kobe moving in the right direction. Reality has not quite matched that.
Listen, with all the grades that have played for Barcelona.
Ooh. That is enough to cut the grass, but didn't ultimately get that into the net.
Yeah, Ivan Rakitic, we saw that against Chelsea, of course, late in the game. Wonderful strike to get a goal for Barcelona in this one. Gets a ball, good, decent touch right there, and you can see a lazy cutter right there. The goalkeeper clearly beaten. I think if that's on target, it's 1-0 Barca.
Could have been 2 goals from beyond the 18-yard box in a 2-goal span to start preseason. It's knotted away by Golke. Oh, that's excellent from Villa. And Iniesta. Flag is down now. And Ter Stegen makes no mistake off his line to deny Ogawa.
Heads-up play. 2 former Barca players combining. Do you like that little flick header with the back of his head to Iniesta? Iniesta releasing that ball right away. Good read. Great anticipation for Ter Stegen because Barca were in trouble on that counter.
You and I are kind of making the same facial reactions I think everybody in the crowd is, right? I mean, there's just little things that they still do. There they are combining again. Slid away from Villa after Iniesta tried to create the incisive pass.
Jordi Alba this time sliding. Very late. Again, great combination. Iniesta always looking for David Villa. They have that partnership, and of course they would have that understanding. Ronald Araujo was there just in case, and I think even if Alba doesn't get there, it would have been difficult for David Villa to have a look on goal.
Iniesta denied service. How quickly can Barcelona go the other way? Just continuing to fight through this and eventually falling down. Playado got everybody out of sorts. Yamaguchi just trying to hang on for dear life.
Well, you liked him early, and I tell you what, he's having a pretty decent game all by himself, an individual effort here without any help whatsoever. Gets something out of it, I suppose, and it's probably a good foul there if you look at it. Worth taking a yellow card in a friendly match, because even though he had very little help, who knows how that would have ended. There you go, if he cuts it on inside. Have a look one-on-one with the goalkeeper.
Yamaguchi, impressive run at Osaka, won the J-League, won the Emperor's Cup. Was at Hanover back in 2016, but really didn't spend too much time there. Alba and Rakitic standing behind the ball. Alba scored twice last year in La Liga. Rakitic 3 times. Rumors that Betis might transfer Junior Firpo in as well. So Jordi Alba might be looking over his shoulder at a backup with some serious potential. Rakitic off the wall.
Yeah, Junior standing player. Not just Barcelona, Liverpool, of course, they're on the lookout for a left back. He's been rumored there because Andy Robertson, of course, the only player at the moment, Alberto Moreno, is back in Spain and La Liga as well. He was a little bit of a backup, although it hasn't been a great stint for him at Liverpool for the most part.
Coming up at halftime, we'll take a look at the best of the International Champions Cup. We've got first half highlights as well. Stay with us here on ESPN. You and I saw the European under-21s, and even Dani Ceballos going to Arsenal from Real Madrid. I mean, you look at some of these guys, maybe the answer for Collado this year is not significant first-team minutes with Barcelona, but it could be a loan somewhere, or it could be a more dynamic role with Barca B, or maybe there are some more minutes.
Well, if he continues to play like this, once again, look at his press, almost turned the ball over as well, full of running, absolutely outstanding. So even though, remember, I told you in the beginning that, he's just happy to be here, probably won't see any time. You just never know. I mean, there's got... There you go. There he is once again.
Collado.
Arguably Barcelona's best player in the first half.
That's lifted too far. His virtues were actually extolled by Valverde. Said he was playing better, playing well in the lead up to this game.
Well, if you're honest with yourself, if you watch Barca, there's talk of need of generational change in a way, right? I mean, the likes of Luis Suarez, even Lionel Messi, of course, he's going to be there, but we've got to turn this team over a little bit.
Iniesta did well to play Agawa. Agawa cutting back. Iniesta. Line at Ter Stegen. Meanwhile, Rafinha for Barcelona here. Griezmann on the cutback toward the penalty spot. Lofted away here. Turn back to Barca again, Rafinha.
Very little flow from Barcelona, right? We used to, I understand, of course, we're just a couple of weeks into the preseason, but the speed of play should be there. You can understand that the legs aren't there, but the way Barcelona play, it's all about ball movement. And when you do that, you don't really need legs, right? Because you have the opponent just kind of chasing the ball right there. So just decision-making hasn't been there for the most time. A lot of forcing, a lot of individual play, unlike Barcelona for the most part.
Rafinha now. Injuries. He was loaned to Inter.
Look at Griezmann right now. Look at Riqui Puig. No movement without the ball, which is something that we're so used to watching Barcelona. Methodical, slow, predictable at the moment.
Way back to Ter Stegen. And at the same time, you mentioned it, they've only been together a little over a week. Started in Barcelona, made their way over to Japan. Cut back, Griezmann. Lost that over. In pursuit of his first goal in Barcelona colors.
Yeah, not a comfortable strike right there as he comes to the near post. That ball bubbling for him just a little bit, and that can happen right there. You could go through it with a lot of pace on the ball, or see how careful he is with that one. The ball didn't really come across his body properly as well. But to answer your question, yeah, it's early, but there's certain levels certain teams can't go below, and I think that's one level here. Yes, there's going to be changes. Yes, there's some significant players coming off the bench, and that may change, but when you're evaluating player here, and there's plenty to evaluate, if you look at Busquets, you look at Rakitic, you look at Griezmann, certainly are very good players. I'd be very, very disappointed, and I think that's why we continue to ask questions of Ernesto Valverde.
All settled. Puig Griezmann. He's taken off the ball. Semedo.
Good ball.
Snatched by Makawa off his line, 24-year-old Japanese player.
I think I just needed to be whipped in a little bit with a little bit more pace. Yes, it's a good read from the goalkeeper to cut that out, but the idea was right.
Side flag raised. Barcelona's been doing double sessions. They've put out plenty of content about team in the locker room playing video games together. And things of that
so
nature,
are the
right?
other teams are doing 2-a-days and plenty. Atleti yesterday, I'm sure they were doing with Joel Simeone maybe three times a day, and they were absolutely flying there at the same time. So yes, I mean maybe I'm asking for too much, but it's been this way. I bet you ask these fans right here. I mean they came to here probably not to watch their own team, but to watch Barcelona, right, and some of the greatest players on earth to put on the show. And it's been pretty quiet in the stands.
I wasn't making excuses. I was just getting to the fact that they've been running some clinics and some meet and greets. I'm just saying it's good for the game. I'm not saying it's good for this game. I'm just saying it's good for, the global game. That's all.
I'm just asking for fundamentals of the game for Barcelona, right? They've set a pretty high bar. They're well below it right now.
Can they find a goal before halftime? That would cure some of the ills, perhaps. This ball hammered on the line and saved by Makawa. Rakitic involved again. You want to talk about a guy who's playing with his job on his mind.
Yeah. He's had a couple of looks from distance, right? One just 10 minutes ago or so. Just barely missed the goal to the right post. Now the second one. So he's getting his looks.
Couple good saves from Makawa in this first half. 4 corners for Barcelona. Steered away from Longley. 1 minute of added time. Then we'll take a look at the best of the ICC. Get you highlights from this first half, all coming up here on ESPN. Vissel Kobe and Barcelona meeting in Japan for the first time. Attack on for Collado. That's a man who's got to feel a little more confident. The goalkeeper, Collado, from this first half. Well, this first half comes to an end. So Kobe, maybe one more chance. Iniesta combining, lobbed it over this back line. And ultimately, it's a bit offside. 0 halftime. Barcelona, not their best.
It's going to get better in the second half because plenty of quality on that bench for Barca.
No doubt about it. Should be wholesale changes for Barcelona as they take on this Vissel Kobe side that made significant changes in their lineup as well. It's halftime here, all scoreless in Japan.
Swing by. I'm not busy. You wouldn't settle for a 2-star dentist.
So why do you stick with a bank that treats you like this?
This is nice. How much?
50.
40.
Deal. Please see if there's better out there.
Ask the internet. Ask your friends. Ask your coworkers.
We're pretty sure they'll send you over to us.
Because we're not just a bank.
We're an ally. Ally, this is Pamela. How can I help you?
If you start with lime, a bit of chili powder, ice, and you mix it with beer, and of course, Clamato, you make the authentic Clamato Michelada. Are you craving one? Claro. And now the beer is on us. Find out how at clamato.com.
inspiration in every mile. The Mazda CX-5 with turbo. Feel alive.
Barb, you left me hanging on the high harmony there.
If you ride, you get it. Geico Motorcycle. 15 minutes could save you 15% or more.
Vissel Stadium in Japan. This time welcoming one of the great footballing powers on the planet, FC Barcelona. There's a trophy on the line in the preseason. We take a look at first half highlights. Sergio Busquets getting one into the box. Antoine Griezmann can't quite get there.
Yeah, a little bit too tight. And a ball over the top. There was a touch from a defender as well. And as you see, Vissel Kobe and Andres Iniesta with a look really didn't get hold of that. Not cleanly anyway. Barcelona going the other way. Jordi Alba. See that ball bubbling on Antoine Griezmann right there. Didn't have the confidence on that strike, that is for sure. Not too many great looks, really. Rakitic, couple strike. This one was safe. Just before that, he had another one that barely missed the goal. Riqui Puig actually probably had the best chance of the first half. Didn't take advantage of that. Bad decision-making for the most part. But, Mike, let's be honest here. This has not been a good first half. When I look at the combination play between David Villa and Iniesta on those maybe only 2 or 3 occasions, they had a better understanding than any of the Barcelona players in the first half. So that tells you everything about the way Barcelona played in the first 45 minutes.
Saw Masayama and Wellington milling around on the field. Should be drastic changes for both sides going into this second half. Malcolm is over the ball. A change for Barcelona at the break. We'll try and tabulate as best we can as we go along.
Good luck, Mike.
You're a monster, you know that? Just, get in the foxhole with me.
Oh, I will eventually once I figure out who's where. Obviously, there's going to be some changes. Malcolm, not the best of season for him. There's been some injuries as well, but looks like he may be playing a false 9. Look at this. That's what we're talking about. Without Leo Messi and Suarez against Chelsea, it was Rafinha that led the line.
So we'll do a little arithmetic here, try and figure things out.
Carles Perez on that left-hand side. He came in, played against Chelsea as well.
This ball lobbed over the back line. It is still Makawa in goal.
Ousmane Dembele is there. You see number 19, Carles Alenia as well. I expect a lot from him. I actually suspect that he may run this game a little bit better than Riqui Puig, who was very, very disappointing. Yes, we've seen him at his best on a couple occasions. Many like him. I still think there are plenty of questions about Riqui Puig before we get too excited.
To drive this cross, it rings off the post. Now Barcelona's come out firing a little bit better than they did in the first half.
As I said, I thought there was going to be changes between Malcolm, Carles Alenia, Ousmane Dembele. The game's just going to be a little bit quicker, a little bit more direct. I think Ernesto Valverde, I would hope, wasn't happy with the 45 minutes, first 45 minutes, and a stern message to his team in terms of how to make this game a little bit quicker. Decision making, the ball movement's got to be much faster.
Him over to Jaime. Slide in there. Brought down nicely by Masayama. Booted away by Jaime. Flag is up here. Jaime actually a right back by trade. Jordi Alba is idle growing up, though, and ultimately actually had to debut at left back. That's where he's playing right now. Be a little whack at depth over there. Left back for Barcelona at present. Is this an international friendly to you from Kobe, Japan? Barcelona expected to compete for every trophy they're eligible for this year. Vissel Kobe sitting in 15th in the J1 League, the top division in Japan, but with all kinds of notable names.
See that movement, Frankie de Jong in the back right there, 1-2 as well. There he is on the ball constantly. It's 2 passes I mentioned, and against Chelsea, I don't think he's missed 1 pass, and got the ball already 2 or 3 times, and certainly showing in the right spots, wanting to dictate the tempo of the game. Hope I'm not the only one getting all so excited about Frankie de Jong, one of my favorite players. We'll see how he develops here at Barcelona, but heard from many that maybe he's not ready, maybe this, maybe that. Throw him out there. For me, one of the players that should get plenty of time, and I am pretty sure that he'll earn it.
42 for 42 passing against Chelsea. That's cut out there. Iamaime joined the Barcelona Academy at the under-7s. Volleyball was trying to combine there.
Tadibo's out there with Umtiti, center of defense, as well as Frankie de Jong wanting it. Head on the swivel as always. No panic. Look at that. Nice and easy. That's what, 3 for 3, 4 for 4. Just keep an eye on him, and maybe if you want to have a little bit of fun, look how many passes he's misses. I promise you won't be many.
Count on one hand kind of stuff.
Not even, no chance he misses 5 passes in 45 minutes. No chance. Here's Carlos Alenia as well. Look at it, just a little bit closer together, that combination play. Look at that one touch once again. I'll put that on Alenia. I'm not taking that pass away from Frankie de Jong.
For Barcelona, we thought there would be big changes. There have been. Neto moves into goal as Ter Stegen comes out. And it is literally a new 11 on the field at the break for Ernesto Valverde.
Monchu getting a run out as well. I don't think we saw Monchu against Chelsea as well. So just about everybody has. And you look at, everybody. Samper stays, but a lot of changes, of course. That has to be in mind, of course, their league games, which are very much a priority for Vissel Kobe, who are struggling mightily in the J-League.
Welcome into Talk FCB and welcome back here to the second match of our pre-season preparations and the final match here of our tour of Japan. Today, coming up for you, it's the match preview between Barcelona and Vissel Kobe, the Japanese side, which of course will be featuring there on the side of the opposition, no less than 3 former Barcelona players. And in today's preview, we are going to be running through exactly what's to come here in our second game in pre-season as we look to end our visit to Asia on a high. Let's get now down to business, because kickoff will be coming to us live from Japan at 6 p.m. local time there in Kobe, which means that back in Barcelona, the game will be kicking off there at 11 a.m. in the morning. So like I say, an early start once again in some ways for many of us around the world. But like I said last time, guys, the Asian fans there getting the game they deserve here in the final game of our tour of Japan, with the match here coming live from the Misaki Park Stadium in Kobe, which will hold there a capacity of 30,000 spectators. And following our opening pre-season match against Chelsea, where I feel, to be honest, that we lost the game. It was 2-1. Yes, it was a defeat on paper, but at the same time, I felt like in that game, considering it was our very, very first game back into everything, we played quite well. We created some chances, we went forward, we put in some nice plays, we played good passing football, and that's at the end of the day what we want to see in a Barcelona shirt. And hopefully here, though, in the second game, we can have all of that positivity, we can have the good performance, but at the end of it as well, hopefully we can also have a more positive result there, just to get us going, just to get that confidence going inside us again. But once again, just like with Chelsea when we came into that game there, the first game of our preparations, we are playing a team there in Chelsea who were midway really through their pre-season preparations. And once again here, we're going to be facing an opponent in Vissel Kobe who are extremely far advanced in their regular season. They're going to still be playing here competitive football in the J-League in Japan, and they're going to be fully up to speed right now in their division. They're going to be match sharp. They're going to be well up for this, and I'm sure really they're going to be very, very excited about pitting using their wits against the players there of FC Barcelona. However, right now, for Vissel Kobe, just to give you here the full picture, guys, it's not really all fun and games for them right now because they're in quite a bad run of form. They've lost 3 of their last 3 games, so all of their last 3 there have all ended in defeats. And actually, right now, they only find themselves just 3 points outside of the relegation zone there in the J-League. So certainly, Vissel Kobe right now are not exactly firing on all cylinders, and they're going to be out here, to be honest, to find some confidence and actually to get back into the spirit of winning again. And of course, like I said there, in the opener, we are going to be up against tomorrow some former Barcelona faces. When we step out onto the pitch tomorrow, we are going to be reunited with Andres Iniesta, David Villa, and Sergi Samper. 3 very familiar faces, very good characters, fantastic personalities, and of course, legends there in Iniesta, in David Villa. Samper, of course, coming up through the ranks. He's been with Barcelona for much of his life. 3 big names there. And of course, the squad have already met up with him on their arrival in Kobe. There was some really, really nice pictures, a nice video there of the squad going in to meet Iniesta, to meet Villa, to meet Samper. There was some really nice hugs, there was conversations, there was jokes with their old teammates there, and it was nice to see, really, the old faces back together. And it was a shame, really, to be honest, that Messi wasn't there, that he wasn't out there in Asia to actually meet back up with Iniesta and Villa. It would have been really nice to see that, but at the same time, it's so strange for me, looking at Iniesta in particular, seeing him there on the side of the opposition. I think right now, it feels like he should still be with us on pre-season, and especially out there tomorrow, seeing him there in an opposition shirt. He never thought that he'd even play against Barcelona, and that's why, to be honest, he went to Japan so he wouldn't get in this scenario. But of course, it's only pre-season. But at the end of the day there, it is going to be emotional, it is going to be strange, but of course, nice to see them again, and tomorrow, we still do have a job to do. Because like I said before, guys, that game against Chelsea was a decent start, but at the same time, every single pre-season match now, we've got to go on from that. We can't just stand still, we can't just wait to find our rhythm. We've got to get going now. We've got to get ourselves really up to speed. A bit more sharpness, a bit more quality there in our play in the final third in particular. We've got to see that tomorrow. And in particular, really, just seeing the likes of Griezmann, Frenkie de Jong, those kind of players there, getting a bit more action, a bit more time there under their belts in a Barcelona shirt, getting to know the Barcelona way, getting to understand their teammates. It's all very important preparation here, ahead of that new season, getting out there now and putting in the work. And wouldn't it be fantastic, really, tomorrow to see Antoine Griezmann there, or even Frenkie de Jong get their first Barcelona goals, a big moment there in the Barca shirt, something like that would be absolutely magical. And of course, tomorrow, once again, we are going to be hoping to see some of that talent there coming through from Barcelona B, with Riqui Puig in particular in that first half against Chelsea. I thought he was brilliant, absolutely magnificent, and hopefully once again he can put down a really good marker, continue to show that quality, and ultimately saying, I am ready. That's what he's saying. He's put in a good performance now. If you're putting it out there in amongst the first team, you are saying, give me the chance, I will deliver. And Riqui Puig doing really good things so far on this pre-season tour. One player though who will not be in action tomorrow against Vissel Kobe is Gerard Piqué, unfortunately, who actually has really close ties to Rakuten, and particularly there with his company and off the field things in Japan. But he's not going to be playing tomorrow due to some discomfort there in his left thigh. He's going to be left out, according to Valverde, just as a precaution. It's nothing serious, it's not a real problem there, but ultimately, this early on in pre-season, we're not going to take any risks, and Gerard Piqué is not going to play tomorrow. One other player who is remaining in doubt ahead of tomorrow's game is Hiroki Abe, and that's a real shame. He couldn't play against Chelsea. He was also there suffering some discomfort more in his hip bone though, and that's a real shame that if he is going to miss tomorrow's game, he won't have played at all in his native Japan. They are really, really looking forward to seeing him in a Barcelona shirt. I'm sure he was looking forward to go